welcome to the FDT-TV Podcast with myself, Mike.
I'm Ian.
And I'm Phil.
We're just going to be recapping on the international break this week and touching on the games coming up in the weekend because the Premier League is back, boys.
Yes,
come on.
It is.
Come on.
I'm very excited.
Me too. I'm not a big fan of the international breaks, unless it's an actual competition, but the qualifiers and friendlies. Anyway, so if we just go back on our predictions from last week, Ian, you're the man.
So last week I predicted England-Montenegro was 4-2. Mike predicted 4-1 and Phil predicted 4-0. None of us got the exact result, so we all gained a point.
Whoop, whoop.
Puts myself on 9, Mike on 8.5, and Phil has his first point on the board of 1.
Hey, come on, Phil.
In the second game, now this is where the boys messaged me because I predicted 7-0. And they thought it was for the first game. So I predicted 7-0, Mike predicted 4-1, and Phil predicted 3-2. So again, none of us got the exact score. We all get a point. Leaves me on 10, Mike on 9.5, and Phil on 2. So it's close at the top of the table, but Phil is in for a relegation battle for the whole season, I believe.
On the forfeit.
Yeah, but that is all for for last week's predictions and this week's score update.
Brilliant stuff. Nice one. Thanks very much, Ian.
No problem.
Right, so we are just going to quickly recap on the two England games. As Ian just mentioned, we had a 7-0 thrashing to Montenegro. To be honest, I don't really think there's much to discuss about the game. Phil, you quite rightly said about Harry Kane starting for England. Got a hat-trick, I believe, in the game.
He should have had 5.
He had the service, managed to get some in.
Yeah, I mean, 3 good goals, I thought. 3. Yeah. In fact, all 7 were not bad goals.
No, yeah, exactly. Ben Chilwell, hat-trick of assists. Can't miss that out. I think that's more of an achievement than possibly some of the goals.
Yeah.
He had a solid game. Really solid game.
Well, if we just quickly talk, so we did mention about the 2 lineups for the team. So we had Pickford in goal, which I did say I think he was going to start. Mm-hmm. We had John Stones, which we also briefly discussed in the game the podcast last week. Was he going to be good enough? Turns out yes, because we kept a clean sheet. Maguire, Chilwell, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Winks, Mount, Sancho, Kane and Rashford. So that was the starting 11 for that particular game. As I said, I haven't really got much to say about that. I mean, we qualified for the competition or for the Euros next year. I don't really think there's much else we need to say on unless you guys want to say anything else.
I do have a question. VAR wasn't used, was it, in the game?
No.
Because one of Harry Kane's goals, well, say goals, it would have been a goal, but it was quite clearly handballed in the box. But yeah, if VAR wasn't being used, must be a reason for it.
Is it because not all the stadiums have got the facilities of it? So you've got, like, for example, Wembley has, but then some of the other countries out there, they don't have those facilities yet.
Possibly. I think it's just because it doesn't work, so they've decided not to use it.
Something you're very, very strong about, isn't it, Ian? You're right in that VAR out pony right till the end until they sort something out. Yeah. Yeah, I think we'll quickly move on from that. Right, so we just talk about the game. The second game from Sunday against Kosovo.
Yep.
To be fair, I think the scoreline flattered us a little bit. We did all right up until... they gave us a pretty good game until the last kind of like 10-15 minutes, in which case I think because they'd run absolute ragged, they were knackered, and we managed to score 3 goals in just over 10 minutes.
Yeah. You've gone a bit robotic, Mike.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
It's getting better.
Back now.
Yeah, better now.
Say what you said again, we can cut it. Technical technical
Technical difficulties,
as well as
you,
people speaking difficulties.
So where do you want me to go from?
Just when the second game.
From England.
Yeah.
Okay.
What happened in the second game?
So the second game was 0-4. As I said, I think the scoreline flattered us a little bit because Kosovo were actually doing all right up until around about the 80th minute-ish. And I think by which point we managed to run them ragged. And then we managed to score 3 goals in the last 10 minutes or so. As I said, I think the scoreline flattered us. But if we look at the lineups for the team, so we had Pope in goal, which Phil did actually mention in the first podcast. In last week's podcast. And I did very much say I think it would depend on how we get on in the first game. Then we had Chilwell again, Mings, Maguire, and Alexander-Arnold, Winks, Rice, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Hudson-Odoi, Kane, and Sterling. We did obviously mention about Tammy Abraham coming in, which he did, scored a goal on the first game.
Mm-hmm.
Pope, obviously, as Phil alluded to last weekend, he should start. He did get a start. Sterling started in the second game after being banished from the first game. And then Tyrone Mings, again, I think put up another good performance. I think he's doing all right for us.
Yeah, solid.
Yeah, you did. You have gone a little bit robotic again, but Tammy Abraham should have started that game, is my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah, totally agree.
We'd qualified. It realistically meant nothing. Give the boy some time to sort of hone that place. He's been the best striker in the league this year, yet he didn't start for us. But what's your boy's opinion on that?
For me, it depends on how we're set up to play. So for the first game, when he was getting the service from the left and the right with Sancho and Sterling and everyone else, it makes a difference. If you're Tammy Abrahams, I think he's a different type of striker who is one of those who'll run through those defenders and will take on the shorter balls, whereas Kane, from what I've seen in these 2 games, he's taken a lot of balls in from the left, from the right, and then just doing a nice little finish.
Yep.
Which is a different type of style for 2 different types of players there.
Fair enough. Mason Mount, first goal. He got one chalked off in the first game, didn't
he? Yeah.
So technically second goal for England, but his first one that counts. So I was quite pleased with that. Hopefully Gareth can bring through a bit more of that youthful side of players who are playing well this year into next year when we play at Wembley.
I was glad that Oxlade got a chance. He got a goal, a really quite good goal as well.
Yeah, I think it was
a tight angle,
good delivery, and he was quite composed with it, wasn't he? So that was quite good. Defensive set plays is all I'm going to say. I think against better opposition, we are going to concede every time. There just doesn't seem to be any organisation. There's gaps galore in that defence. I don't know whether that's something that they are working on or looking at it, or because it was different players maybe, but who knows.
Oh, that sounds familiar for us, doesn't it, Ian?
What, set pieces?
Yeah.
You need a good, strong leader there, don't you? Either need to take the goalkeeper to take charge, or one of the central defenders just to sort it out, organise, call it around. And if you're changing players all the time, then it's going to get difficult as to who's the authority figure in that lineup.
Yeah, I think the only other thing to say about this qualification is we scored 11 goals in 2 games, which bodes well for the future. And 37 goals in this campaign, which is 3 more than any other qualification campaign ever for England. So we are scoring. It's just whether we can continue to do that against better opposition.
We've got a lot of talent there.
I'm going to ask you boys something that I said about United in the last international break, especially with Rashford.
Mm-hmm.
At that particular point, Rashford was going through a bit of dip in form, got a couple of goals, and then started to kick on in the Premier League.
Yep.
Harry Kane in a similar position this season so far. Do you think that the goals he scored this weekend will push him on for Spurs?
From an England perspective, you would hope so. So we can get that vein of form going. From a West Ham's point of view, maybe from weekend after next.
The way I see it is he's having different service. So
Yes.
in the England squad, he's got a lot better talent there supporting him and giving him that service, which he can then just have those nice little finishes with. I think in Tottenham, he's having to go deeper, pull back more for it, and he's working too much, and he's not getting that type of service that he requires to score. So I don't think it will continue at Spurs.
No. I think that's partly because of Eriksen's head's not in the Tottenham's team anymore, and he's just not producing what he was. He's got the ability to, but he don't want to be there, does he?
No.
I suppose for him though, I mean, there's been talks about him causing issues for the majority of the season so far, but you'd think, I know he's off at the end of the season anyway, isn't he? Unless he gets sold in January, but you'd think he'd want to try and impress potential suitors. I'm the right person for you. Give me that big money move, sort of thing.
I think they from his perspective, they know what he can do. He's been doing it year in, year out. He's dragged Tottenham up that table. I think Harry Kane has been in a lucky position of having him play behind him, as well as a lot of other, like Dele Alli and whatnot, in form for a number of years, producing that creativity for him. But from Eriksen's point of view, if he goes on a free, he's probably going to get more money. Using Aaron Ramsey as an example there, €400,000 a week compared to what he probably would have been €200,000 a week, I'd imagine. I imagine Eriksen's probably in a similar boat. He'll either end up at Manchester United on big money in January, or he'll end up at Real Madrid. That's my prediction anyway.
I don't think that's unreasonable at all.
No.
Very good shout.
I've
got one other little bit of insight from the weekend,
Yep.
and this is something for Mike as an Arsenal fan. Santi Cazorla coming back and getting a goal for his international team.
After something, I think they said it was like after 4 years or something, he's been out. I think that's
Yeah.
absolutely incredible. 35 years old.
With possibly, was it career-ending injury that he had?
Yeah, multiple surgeries. And I did feel a little bit emotional for him, actually, and it was a bloody good goal. He's been on fire since he's gone back to Spain and worked his way. He's worked bloody hard, bless him. Good luck to him. Good luck to him. It's a cracking goal. Can't say enough good things about him.
Do you think that's more of a sort of just a testimonial little sort of shout out to him for one? He was central figure for Arsenal and Spain for a long time, and then he got that injury which no one thought he would come back from. So it's like here's a little shout out to you because we can. I think they'd already qualified as well, wouldn't they? So
Yeah. To be honest, though, I think with the form that he had last season, especially coming into this season, I don't. Well, obviously injury permitting, I think he'd be a valuable player just to take along as a squad player, not necessarily starting.
He's got a wealth of experience, hasn't he?
Exactly. Yeah.
Got a lot of talent. He can boss it from the middle, and it's good. And a bit of controversy, Mike. Would you say that you ruined him?
No.
I think he was just unfortunate with injury, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Because he was a central figure at Arsenal, and everything seemed to revolve around him. And I think when you bought Ozil, it was a case it was hopeful that those two would link up and sort of integrate and play together and just be that creative force, but it didn't happen.
Bearing in mind this poor guy was at us for 3 years, didn't play because of this injury. With his age as well, that wouldn't have helped, which is why we ended up having to let him go. But what do you mean by that? I'm intrigued.
I just wanted to put a little bit of bait on the hook there, just to say that could you've got more? Would you like to see more out of him? I mean, he did play well at the start, and then he got injured, and he never really be able to get the best out of him. But now he's gone back to Spain, he's performing again. Do you feel that you've missed something there?
Me personally, yes. I think had he been fit for certainly the 2 seasons that from the season he got injured and the season after that, I think we would have challenged a lot more for the league, because I think the first year was the year that Leicester won the Premier League that season, and then the season after, just because of his creativity, his work rate, I think we would have, I'm not saying for definite because I don't know, but I think we could have definitely taken Leicester to the wire on that particular season. I would have loved to, but unfortunately he got injured. We couldn't do anything about it. Bear in mind that at one point he was told he might have to have his foot amputated. So, good luck to him. Go on, Santi.
Well, on that pleasant note, shall we move on to this weekend?
Yes.
So,
as I said, the Premier League is back.
The Premier League is back. So we'll start off, because they're all 3 o'clock kickoffs. Crystal Palace Liverpool. Phil, do you want to give us a little bit of insight as to what you're thinking for this game, and then we'll go through some predictions?
So, me personally, I think they will definitely score. They're at home, but we've been leaking goals recently. So I wouldn't give it a clean sheet, but we'll definitely be scoring goals more than them for sure. I think Palace they've been struggling to get a lot of goals in games, especially at home. I think they have got a speedy forward with Zaha and Townsend, and they have got some pace behind them. They can cause some problems for defence on the counter attack, but as a central figure, I don't think they'll have. I mean, Jordan Ayew can be good, but he can go missing in games if you play him right. And with our central defenders, I think we'll have the best of that, and we'll be able to cause them a few problems. So my prediction, I would go 3-1 to Liverpool.
Okay, and Mike, what would your prediction be for that game?
I'm going to go Crystal Palace 1, Liverpool 2. As Phil mentioned, I think Liverpool will concede, but I still think they're going to have too much for them. They're still marching on 2-1 Liverpool.
I've gone 3-2 Liverpool for the fact that I think it's going to be a trickier game than you envisage, just because Palace are hard to beat and they seem to be doing all right this season. But on that note, moving on to Arsenal-Southampton. Mike, give us some thoughts.
So, Unai Emery is kind of on the ropes. I've heard he's got a month to get it right. I don't believe he necessarily has a month. Results permitting, I think if we see a bad result coming off the international break, bearing in mind we have had players out on international duty, I just think that if results start going poorly again, we give cheap goals away. If we take the lead and end up drawing or losing, I think his number's going to be up pretty quickly. That being said, I do think that we will win this game. I'm going to back my boys. I think he now needs to realise that whilst playing some of the youth players is a good idea, results need to go his way. So I'm going to go 3-0 Arsenal. But if not, we could see a sacking very shortly.
Okay, Phil, what's your prediction for that game?
I'm in a similar sort of mind as Mike there. So Southampton, they've had some good results of late, even though they have lost a few games. They've been pushing hard, trying to improve, especially after that massive defeat at home. But then again, with Arsenal, Imran does need to improve. He needs to prove a point, and his job is on the line. So he's going to be going all out for the win. For that reason, I'm backing Arsenal 2-0.
Okay, and I've gone Arsenal 4, Southampton 1 for the fact that I think you've just got too much for them. I think on the night it will be it'll be a bit of a whitewash.
But you obviously still see us too fragile.
I think they'll get one, yeah. But
You
won't get a clean sheet, but I think you've got too much going forward for them at the moment. But on that note, we've go to the key game of the weekend.
Absolutely.
Which is
West
Ham Spurs. So I'll take the lead on this because I am the hammer in the room. Form goes out the window, as always with this fixture.
Yep.
VAR is going to play a part, I can tell you that now. Get that red out of fluff, that's winding me up. So I think that they will strike early and the crowd will start to turn, at which point a certain Mr. Yarmolenko will pop up with a goal for 1-1. The crowd will then get back on side and we'll nick a 94th minute winner for the 2-1. I don't think that necessarily shows that Pellegrini's got it right. I just think it means that West Ham always seem to up their game in this fixture, and then we'll be back to next week as normal with losing with Roberto with his stumps. But that's only the opinion of a humble West Ham fan. Mike, what's your opinion? What's your prediction for the game?
I do agree with you to a point. I think Spurs will score early. But as you said, form goes out the window for these types of fixtures. It's a London derby. But I think you will score. I think it'll be 1-1.
And Phil?
I'm a similar vein of thought there as to Mike again. I think the international break will reset things, but then Spurs haven't been playing well either at all. And away from home, and I don't think they will perform that well. I think West Ham will go ahead. Will push the advantage straight away and give them a tough game. But I do think Spurs will get at least one through you. So I want to go for the 1-1 draw.
Sorry, can you repeat it? And you just went a bit robotic there.
Robotic. Okay. So I believe there's going to be a tough game. Both will score, and I'm going for 1-1 draw.
I think you meant just the score.
Just a 1-1. Okay, that's fine. So that's the weekend's predictions for this week. As we said, I'm in the lead. Mike's a half a point behind, and Phil is battling relegation. Maybe you should change your team to Watford. That'd be more appropriate. No. I mean, I don't know if anyone else has got anything to add to this week at all.
No.
We looking forward to the Premier League coming back and getting into usual games again. Champions League coming up. There's a good couple of games I'm looking forward to seeing over the next few weeks, some good battles, and especially as we're now coming into December, it's going to get to some key weeks in the Premier League.
Yeah, very good. Well, we have been out in the cold. We have filmed some more stuff that will be going live soon. So just make sure you keep an eye out to watch it and enjoy it. It was good fun doing it.
It was very good fun.
And muddy.
Yeah.
Some unbelievable techers.
Yes.
Some full kit willies.
Oh, okay. Didn't know you could see me, Willie. I know I was wearing white, but so on that note, I've been Ian.
I've been Mike.
I've been Phil.
Our Twitter handles are all above us. So if you haven't already, go and give us a follow on there. Keep up to date with everything we're doing. And see you later.
Like and subscribe. Share around.
Click the bell to get notifications.
I think that's all bases covered.
Nice fun. Thanks very much, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. Click like and subscribe. Share it everywhere. Check out one of our other videos. It'll be somewhere around here. Cool.